Tonight, a Bethel teen is recovering after being the apparent victim in what his family calls a motivated attack by another student. We'll hear his mother's response coming up. And later, we're bringing you the latest details on a recovery center for men slated to go up in the Marcola area. Why neighbors say they aren't too thrilled with this decision.
The weather forecast is about to turn on a dime. Find out who could hit 70 as KEZI 9 News at 11 begins right now.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KEZI 9 News at 11.
Emotion is a polite way of putting it. I was disgusted, upset, and feeling very, very defeated.
A local teen's beating caught on camera in a West Eugene neighborhood. As we find out, the young victim has autism. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Ariel Yakabazi. Now, we're about to show you the video of this alleged attack, but before we do, we wanted to let you know it is disturbing. As you can see here, hands are thrown between what appears to be two students. One of them, who, as you can see, is taking several punches, is Julian. His mom, Jennifer Sherman, says he has autism and has a tough time understanding what people say to him. Now, we're told by Sherman, Julian was told to fight a classmate while he was walking home from school. That fight resulted in Julian's oral socket being broken, his cheekbone being caved in. But it doesn't stop there. In a video that's now circulating on social media, the teens who are present can be heard shouting racial slurs like the N-word towards Julian.
I understand that, once your kids walk out the door, you really don't have control over how they behave. Until they come home, and kids will do what they do. But I do believe that a part of our problem, at least within this incident, is it all comes from home.
At the end of the day, these behaviors, these types of things are usually learned. So unfortunately, I know at times it is difficult to be a parent, but at the same time, I have to hold myself accountable, in particular for certain situations.
Now, since the incident, Sherman is already getting ready to remove her son from Willamette High School for her son's safety. And a person claiming to be a family member of the boy seen beating Julian up in the video reached out to us this afternoon, and they say there's more to this story and that the fight was mutual. Now, according to Eugene police, that boy was arrested, but since he's a juvenile, his name has not been released. New tonight, a 51-year-old homeless man is recovering in the hospital after police say he was beaten with a tent pole or pipe while inside his tent Monday morning. Several bystanders attempted to intervene as the assault unfolded just before 8 a.m. on the corner of West 14th Avenue and Lincoln Street in Eugene. But officials say Eric Edmund Galvin did not stop the attack until police got there. That's when 57-year-old Galvin tried to ride away from police on his bike, but he was tackled by officers and taken to jail on charges of second-degree assault, unlawful use of a weapon, and interfering with a police officer. On the way to jail, police say he used slurs against the officer and threatened him with future harm. Now, the condition of the victim is not currently known. An ambulance took him to the hospital. And Sweet Home police are investigating after a group of students were shot by someone with an airsoft gun in a public park. The incident happened last Thursday just before 5 p.m. at Sankey Park and involved 2 to 3 students. This park is very close to Sweet Home High School, so police say they're working closely with the school district to ensure student safety. Detectives say they do have a suspect identified and are working to make an arrest once the investigation is complete. In other news, a Lane County man will spend 20 years in prison, followed by 3 years of probation after a jury found him guilty yesterday of dousing a woman in chemicals, then later setting an apartment building on fire. 47-year-old Avery Boyle Jr. was arrested in September of 2022, a month after setting fire to the apartment complex in the 200 block of Bethel Drive in Eugene. Thanks to quick action from people in nearby businesses, only one resident was hurt. They quickly called 911 and set up ladders to help residents escape. The apartment building was gutted by the fire and left the residents homeless. Authorities say Boyle had doused a woman in a corrosive chemical just 2 days before. Boyle was charged with second-degree assault for the liquid attack, and for the fire he was charged with first-degree arson, fourth-degree assault, and 5 counts of recklessly endangering another person. Now, officials need your help in finding a man they say tried to kidnap a child walking in the Dexter-Lowell area last night. Now, they say the child was approached by a red SUV similar to a Ford Escape in the area of Barbary Road and Rogers. The driver told her he knew her parents and was there to give her a ride home, none of which was true. She then walked back towards the Dexter Market and the vehicle sped off. The driver is described as a scruffy, skinny white male with reddish blonde curly hair. He is estimated to be in his mid-40s. Now, if you have any information, you're asked to call the Lane County Sheriff's Office immediately. Also, Lane County deputies say they've made arrests related to thefts and break-ins in Mapleton. KEZI 9 News first reported the thefts back on February 27th when dozens of mailboxes were broken into. Deputies say because of that report, more victims came forward, and the next day, 2 suspects were found and arrested on unrelated charges. Additional charges were added. Matthew Curtis Berkner Sr. is facing charges of unlawful entry into a motor vehicle, theft 1, criminal mischief, and theft 3. Daniel Kenneth Fry is facing identical charges. Both men remain in the Lane County Jail tonight, and deputies say additional charges could be added if charged federally by the U.S. Postal Service. And 1 teenager has died following a fire in Roseburg that affected multiple apartments last night. The Roseburg Fire Department responded to the 2300 block of Harvard Avenue just before 8 o'clock Monday night to find heavy fire coming from the 2nd and 3rd floors of the building. Crews started searching for a 13-year-old resident after residents told them they might still be inside. Now, they found the boy unconscious on the 2nd floor and removed him through the 2nd floor window. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. 2 more people were taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation, and multiple dogs died in the fire as well. That investigation is ongoing, but the Red Cross did respond and was on scene to help displaced residents.
Now, your Storm Tracker 9 First Alert Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Dylan Robichaud.
So far this March has been very wet and very cloudy. 10 out of the first 12 days have featured cloud cover. Over 80% of the month has been overcast. We've had 143% of our average rainfall so far, so that's about 1.5 times our normal March rainfall through the first 12 days. But, you know, in typical West Coast fashion, things will be changing here pretty quickly. We did get 4 dry days. That'd be from March 5th right up through the 9th. We had dry weather, but you can see that we've had 2.7 inches of rain so far to date. So far, though, we've had a very active polar jet stream. So this polar jet stream has been dragging down colder air and been dragging down more storms from the Gulf of Alaska. Watch what happens, though. The jet stream goes way up here towards Canada. We get this omega block that forms this weekend. And so now, instead of the storms cutting through this ridge, they hit the ridge, they go up, and they go over it. And so it's kind of like shielding us from these storms going in through this weekend. So what does that mean for you? Well, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be warm, and it's going to be dry for the foreseeable future. Where's all the rain? You have to go down to the south to get that. Here at home, we're going to be looking at dry weather. Also, things will be running above average here for most areas west of the Rockies, from Washington down to California over the next 6 to 10 days. Tonight, we drop down to the 30s, and as we head into tomorrow afternoon, we'll be looking at the 50s, Ariel.
All right, Dylan, thank you. If you live in Florence and noticed your water is slightly discolored, city officials say it's safe to drink. Crews working near 21st Street and Highway 101 accidentally hit a water line. Now, repairs are underway. You could also experience outages or discoloration once service comes back. Now, you're asked to check your water hourly by running cold water for 1 to 2 minutes. If it's not clear, try an hour later. And if it is, run all cold water faucets for a minute or 2 to clear out your plumbing. Well, there's a pushback tonight over a new substance disorder treatment center that's taking over the old elementary school in the town of Marcola. The building is being transformed into Common Ground Recovery Services. It's a men's residential treatment center, but we spoke to people in the area who say the center was a done deal before they knew it was a possibility. And they're asking why Marcola was the chosen town for a recovery center.
It totally caught us off guard. We weren't prepared for any type of this coming into our town.
I think this sort of facility would be better fit in Eugene or Springfield, closer to those resources.
The executive director of Common Ground Recovery Services plans to step in, and he's looking to come to Marcola by the end of the month to talk with the community.
We're just trying to get the date and time figured out so that we can put ourselves in front of the community so they can have a voice and ask questions and, hopefully begin some healthy communication back and forth about why we're there, what's our role, how is it going to affect them.
So as for the specifics of transportation, which is one of the concerns people touched on, Vernon Rose Jr. says they will provide their own transportation to take clients back to Eugene or Springfield for appointments and other matters. And addiction is an issue that affects people of all ages, but services often focus on helping adults. That's why a new center is coming to Eugene and is looking to focus on young adults and teenagers instead. Insight Northwest Recovery will open near the University of Oregon in April. The center will offer outpatient treatment for those in early stages of recovery and those seeking long-term sobriety. Now, we're told they're also in network with most insurance companies and the Oregon Health Plan. As of right now, there is no wait list. You can call right now and schedule an appointment. They'll be open Monday through Friday from 9 until 6, beginning sometime in the first week in April. The Oregon Health Authority's new director made a stop in Springfield today at Trillium Community Health Plan. It's the third stop in Dr. Sajal Hathi's regional visit in the state. Now, the goal of these visits are to listen to healthcare providers, departments, and communities on how the OHA can be better partners going forward. Now, she says this will help her gear up the agency as they try to tackle several public health issues in the state. One of them, the understaffing of behavioral health care networks and the impacts it has on trying to curb mental health issues across the state.
We may create the treatment beds, we may build that capacity, but capacity is not sustainable if we don't have providers to deliver that care. And one of our most damning workforce shortages is in behavioral health across the continuum, from peer-based providers to therapists to qualified mental health professionals like psychiatrists. We need to rebuild that pipeline.
She says even though behavioral health treatment has been under-resourced for decades, recent legislation has begun to reverse that. But it could still take years before we see an impact on behavioral and mental health. Now, Dr. Hathi addressed other issues like COVID-19, vaccinations, and even her stance on House Bill 4002, which recriminalizes drugs if signed by Governor Tina Kotek. You can find her responses to these issues on our website at KEZI.com.